Buddy, I should have just stayed in bed. I had no business being up this early to be disappointed this early. Oh my god. I just finished watching Crown Jewels and what was that? Okay, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. It wasn't in the middle either. It was below average or something. I had no business. They had the audacity to make me get up at 8 a.m. to watch this nonsense. Jesus Christ. That is probably some of the worst sleep I've ever lost in my life. I should have stayed in bed, okay? Now, I'm not gonna badmouth Crown Jewels too much because I did enjoy part of it. And by part of it, I mean one singular match on the whole entire PLE. That's what I enjoyed. So we're just going to talk about that right off rip. The one match I did enjoy on this whole entire PLE, the one singular match, and I kid you not, I enjoyed one single match. The other ones, they were watchable, but not twice in a row or ever again, just for this PLE. But the one singular match that I did enjoy was that John Cena and AJ Styles absolute classic, absolute banger, that nostalgia match. Oh my god, that was my favorite match by far. And that was the match of the night for me. That was what made this PLE semi-fun for me. But besides that though, everything else did not matter. Everything else was either nonsense, it felt like something was missing, or it just went on for far too long. A lot of these matches tonight too, I didn't understand the pacing of it. I'm like, why are they so long? These matches did not need to be this long, especially the main event. It was like 30 minutes. I'm like, you guys are pushing it at this point. I don't mind the match being long if it gets better the longer it goes, if it gets better with time. These matches were not getting any better with time. They started off boring, they finished boring, the middle was boring, the start was boring, the end was boring. No reason for it to be 30 minutes long. Some of these matches, I'm like, just end it. It's not getting any better. It's getting stale at this point. And sure, we got a few cool spots and a few memorable spots here and there, but the spots were just far and few. So it made it feel a lot less special in my opinion. And the nonsense we got throughout these matches, especially that Roman Reigns match, it just made no sense. You're telling me Roman Reigns, a former undisputed champion, former world heavyweight champion, Jey Uso, a former world heavyweight champion, multi-time tag team champion, Jimmy Uso, multi-time tag team champion, those three combined could not be two Brawns. Come on. And you're telling me at this point and at this stage of Roman Reigns' career, you have him getting pinned by Bronson Reed. Okay. Just okay. I don't even have words, okay? Just okay. But like I said though, tonight, I only enjoyed one match. The rest of them, it either didn't make sense or there was just something missing. It just felt like something was missing. That was the whole theme for tonight. But anyways, though, to not hold up the video for too long, let's get into the breakdown. Let's get into the review. Let's get this video started. But before all that, before, the quote of the day, as always. Quote of the day. Sometimes the peace you're searching for isn't found in silence, but in the soft laughter shared with someone who understands your chaos. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Romans chapter 12, verse 15. That is your quote of the day. Now let's get right into this video. Let's get into this review. Let's get into this breakdown, okay? So we kicked off Crown Jewel with our first match of the night, and the first match was the Tribal Thief, Bronson Reed versus the OTC, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns, and this was an Australian street fight. Now, the most I could say about this nonsense match was that it was definitely a match. Yup. It was definitely a match on a PLE, and that's the most I could say about this nonsense. We've literally seen it before. We've seen this exact same thing before. We've seen the match where Roman Reigns actually won. We've seen this nonsense before. This match, it was already not too exciting to begin with, and then you tell me the nonsense we got throughout it just ruined it for me. Like I said, the most I could say about this, it was definitely a match, and it was definitely a match that happened on a PLE, and that's that. The match itself, however, wasn't completely terrible, but it made so little sense that it just ruined it for me. The shenanigans we got, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Bronson Reed, Braun Breaker, Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, the nonsense we got, the shenanigans we got, it just made no sense, and it absolutely ruined the match for me. I could not wrap my head around anything that happened. I'm like, Roman Reigns did not need to get speared by Jey Uso. Jey Uso didn't even need to be out there. Braun Breaker didn't even need to be out there. Jim Uso didn't need to be out there. It made no sense, and at this point in stage of Roman Reigns' career, he should not be getting pinned by a jobber in Bronson Reed. Okay, Jesus Christ. And like I said, how is it that two former world heavyweight champions, a former undisputed champion, and multi-time tag team champions could not be two jobbers at this point? And I'm calling them jobbers because they're not as solidified as the rest of these men are. They're not as solidified as Jey Uso. They're not as solidified as Roman Reigns. They're jobbers at this point. How do you have Roman Reigns, the OTC, who went on a legendary run, a legendary tear? You're telling me he can't beat Bronson Reed by himself? Come on. Make it make sense. But anyways, though, at the end of the match, Roman Reigns ended up losing due to shenanigans, like I said. He got speared through a table by Jey Uso, and then he ate a tsunami, and Bronson Reed pinned him for the win. 1, 2, 3. Your tribal thief won, and he pinned Roman Reigns, and that was the match. That was that. Not much else to say. It was just nonsense. This was a terrible opener, in my opinion. Yes, we got some weapons. Yes, we got some cool spots, but like I said, it made so little sense how to just ruin the whole thing for me. But anyhow, after that, we got our second match of the night, and it was La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer versus Tiffy Time, Tiffany Stratton, in an inaugural women's championship match. So for the big, gigantic, enormous, huge, monstrous Crown Jewels championship. And this match, it was all right. I expected it to definitely be a whole lot better. Honestly, it kind of disappointed me, but on the other hand, I guess it could have definitely been a whole lot worse. So I'm not going to complain too much. It was an all right match. But anyways, all in all, both Tiffany Stratton and Stephanie Vaquer, they did a pretty solid job. This match just wasn't what it was hyped up to be. That was the only thing. At the end of the match, Stephanie Vaquer rightfully picked up the win over Tiffany Stratton with an off the top rope corkscrew splash. The cool move she did to defeat Io Sky. She did that again and it looked amazing the second time around too, and she did it maybe even better this time. It looked amazing. But overall though, this match, there's not really too much to talk about. We got a few high flying spots. We got the Devil's Kiss. We got a few cool spots, but like I said, it was not what it was hyped up to be. This match was hyped up to be champion versus champion. It's gonna be an absolute banger, classic, hard hitting, you can't miss it type of thing. And that's what the video packages were hyping it up to be. And I was literally disappointed. Like Stephanie Vaquer did her thing, you know, as always. She's amazing in the ring, but Tiffany Stratton, I feel like she could have brought more. I feel like they could have did more. Both of them, I feel like they could have did more crazy spots, cooler spots, more memorable stuff. Because talking about it right now, I can't remember two things that happened in it. So like, anytime you had two women's champions in this match, it could have been a lot better. It should have been a lot better. That's all I'm saying. Anyhow, though, after this, we got to my favorite match of the night, the match of the night, maybe even match of the year. But we got to our third match of the night, and it was the phenomenal AJ Styles versus the Never Seen 17, the last real champion, the greatest of all time, John Cena. Anyhow, AJ Styles ended up coming out in some pretty cool, unique special attire, which was a throwback to his TNA days, I'm pretty sure. And he looked awesome in it. He was wearing shorts, and I'm like, I haven't seen this from AJ Styles in a while. So it was pretty cool. Anyhow, though, he even got a personal introduction. The announcer was talking about the face that runs this place, the house that AJ Styles built. And they were talking about the Bullet Club and everything. It was a really nice moment. You could see AJ Styles really enjoyed it. He really liked it. And I don't think he knew that they were going to announce it like that. So it meant a lot to him. And I was like, you know, I really love it. And it was announced that AJ Styles is planning to retire in 2026. So this is literally AJ Styles' retirement tour as well as John Cena's. So this was literally their last time. So this made it even more special, seeing the throwbacks, the attire, seeing the cool announcement they got for both John Cena and AJ Styles. I really did enjoy it. And this match, it was a real nostalgia-fueled match. I enjoyed it. I loved this match so much. Both of these legends were using moves, submissions, and sequences from their greatest rivals, and it was a really neat sight to see. It was really cool. It was awesome. We saw both AJ Styles and John Cena using old moves from people they've beaten before, people that have beaten them before, from their greatest rivalry, their greatest feuds, and it was really cool. We saw moves from Bray Wyatt's repertoire. We saw moves from Chris Jericho's repertoire. We saw moves from Samoa Joe, moves from Rusev, moves from Randy Orton, and plenty of others. And the crowd was losing their minds so much that at one point they were chanting for John Cena or AJ Styles to do a 619. And I'm like, calm it down. These men are pushing 50. Who do you think's doing a 619 at 50? Even Rey Mysterio's barely doing that nonsense anymore. What are you talking about? I would pay good money to see John Cena try to do a 619. I'm sure AJ Styles could probably do it, but it was funny. They were chanting for John Cena or AJ Styles to do a 619. But we didn't get a 619. We got something even crazier. We saw AJ Styles hit a springboard 450 splash, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know he could still do that, okay? So they were pulling out all the stops tonight, or this morning, as a matter of fact. Still shaking my head over that. Anyhow, though, this was match of the night, like I said. This was a finisher fest, but that was literally all it needed to be. This match had no build-up, basically. No promos, no nothing. It was a finisher fest. That's all it needed to be for the build-up we got. That's all it had to be, and I'm happy that's what we got. And it was amazing. It was entertaining from start to finish. I enjoyed every second of this match. John Cena even won the match with the Tombstone Piledriver, a tribute to The Undertaker, which was crazy. And like I said, this match was by far match of the night. This match was one of one. It's never going to to be replicated again. This match was unique. This match was something else. This match was special. This match was incredible. And let me remind you again, both of these men are pushing 50 doing some of this stuff in the ring. I can't even do that now at my age. And I'm telling you, these men are pushing 50 doing this stuff. It's crazy. This was an absolute sight to see. And at the end of the match, both men ended up holding each other's hands up and they were showing respect to each other, paying homage, paying respects, because this is literally both of the retirement tour. And they were just drinking in the moment and enjoying it. And I really loved that. I really loved that sight. I really loved the moment and I enjoyed the match. And this was my favorite match of the card, of the night, of the morning. I keep saying of the night, of the morning. Anyhow, we got to our fourth match of the night, and it was the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, versus Rhea Bloody Ripley and the Genius of the Sky, Io Sky. And this match was pretty good for what it was. The pacing was really nice in my opinion. It wasn't too sluggish. It wasn't too slow. They did it at a reasonable pace, I want to say. The in-ring action was great. It wasn't too slow. The spots were on point. Most, if not all of them, were on point. So I really enjoyed what we're seeing. And it did feel like some of the other matches that just dragged on for no reason. This match was a little bit quicker than most. The steps were a little faster. You know, everybody was pacing themselves. They were going a little quick, doing the high-flying moves pretty quickly, doing heavy moves pretty quickly. And they were also having fun. And that was one thing I did really enjoy about this match. This match didn't really take itself too seriously, which was what I found really cool. We got both goofy and serious moments and both goofy and serious spots. So I really enjoyed that. They didn't take this match too seriously, and that made it even better. The Kabuki Warriors did look really good in this match. They lost, but they still looked amazing. They went up against Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and they held their own for sure. Okay, for sure they held their own. And they actually put up a solid fight, and they looked amazing. Even though they weren't the winners, they still looked good. Anyways, though, at the end of the match, Rhea Ripley and Io Sky ended up picking up the win over the Kabuki Warriors, and Io Sky was the one to pin Kairi Sane. So the team still looks strong. The Kabuki Warriors don't look weak by any means. They went up against two giants at this point, and they defended themselves. They almost won even. So that was good on them. Good for them. I hope they go after the Women's Tag Team Championship gold at some point because they would look really nice on them. But anyhow, that's just me being hopeful. After this, we made it to our fifth and final match of the night. It was our main event. It was Seth Rollins versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So the Vision, the Architect, the Revolutionary versus the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. And this was the men's inaugural championship match. And one thing I can say and note is that both men's attire looked amazing. Seth Rollins came out with the zebra stripe thing with polka dots on the side of it, paying homage to Cody Rhodes' father, I'm pretty sure. Dusty Rhodes, maybe. But both men's attire looked really cool, looked amazing in my opinion. And like I was saying at the beginning of the video, some of these matches did drag on for a bit too long. A lot too long, very too long. And this was one of the matches that dragged on for far too long. This match, it dragged on for so long and it was slow, sluggish. At most of this match was just sluggish and I didn't like the pacing at all. It was just so slow and not methodical slow, just slow, sluggish slow. I'm like, if you made it like maybe 10 minutes shorter, this match would have been an absolute banger, got the same spots in and everything. This match would have been a classic, but no, it went on for 30 minutes, 30-minute match between Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. Let's just keep going. We did get some cool spots, especially that coast to coast from Seth Rollins. It looked amazing. And that was probably my favorite spot of the night. Besides that Cody Rhodes crossroads off the top rope. Like I said, though, we did get some cool spots, but they were just far and few. This match was just so long and it was just spaced out so far between each other that it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter. It didn't make the match feel any more special, any more memorable. The spots were just here and there every now and then. They were cool, but the match was just too long. That was the main issue. That's what it was suffering from. This match was just too long. Like I said, it was literally 30 minutes and it was just sluggish for most of it, just slow pacing. It was just unnecessarily long. But besides that, though, this match was pretty solid. It was a pretty solid match in my opinion. Both Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes pulled out moves and sequences that we haven't seen before from them. So it was really cool. I'll give credit there. I'll clap it up, give credit where credit is due. I enjoyed those moments. I enjoyed the little spots, the little moves, but the match was just too long, okay? But anyhow, the other thing I didn't like about this match was that the second half, the focal point of the second half of this match was literally a Rolex. I'm like, why are we focusing on a Rolex? Can Seth Rollins punch Cody Rhodes in the mouth with the Rolex? That was the focal point of the second half of the match. Can Seth Rollins use a Rolex on Cody Rhodes' chin? I'm like, come on, come on. And it made the match just so much sillier because at every point, at every turn, Seth Rollins was picking up that Rolex trying to punch Cody Rhodes with it. And I'm like, come on, just win, just cleanly or something. If it's not going to be clean, at least make it entertaining. Nobody cares about a Rolex. Anyhow, though, at the end of the match, Seth Rollins ended up cheap shotting Cody Rhodes with the Rolex, hitting Cody Rhodes square in the mouth, square in the chin, knocking him out, and hitting two curve stomps, one normal curve stomp and one huge curve stomp off the top ropes on Cody Rhodes for the win. And Seth Rollins is your men's inaugural crown jewel champion, and he got a ring and everything. And that was that. That was their whole PLE. That was their whole show. And overall, I would rate Crown Jewels a solid 5 out of 10. It was right smack dab in the middle. It wasn't anything crazy memorable. Like I said, I only enjoyed one match. The other ones, they were solid to below average. But besides that, though, like I said, I only enjoyed one match. The other ones, they were fine, they were cool, they were all right. But most of the matches, it felt like something was missing, or it just went on for far too long. And that was my main issue for tonight, or this morning. Anyways, though, that was my breakdown and my review of this PLE of Crown Jewels. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for hearing me out. And thank you for being here. Like, comment, and subscribe if you want to. Like, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to. And like, comment, and subscribe if you choose to. As always, it's been a pleasure. I'm out.